there, and welcome to Practice Your Positive Daily, the podcast. I am Sass. I am your host, your head trainer, your coach, your positivity power plant. Boy, that's a lot of P's. Today's episode, a coach's playbook episode. These are moves and grooves from my own personal playbook. Listen, I don't know if they work for you, but they sure as heck work for me, and that's what I'm sharing. So today is coach's playbook. I choose no booze. So let's get after it. So imagine you're watching the Olympics and the deadlifter's right to go up, and it's a big hulk of a person. They got all their straps and belts on, and then right before they step up to the platform, they grab a 2-liter of Sun-Kissed soda and just start chugging soda, cram a few Twinkies in, and then they go up on that stage and lift. That sounds crazy, right? We know this. Sometimes when we use these sports analogies, they're just so bonkers, right? We all know that the right fuel helps an athlete reach top performance, and the same goes for us. I am a registered dietitian, and it's not just the food, filling ourselves with healthy food, it's also what we drink. And so for me, cutting back on alcohol really changed the fuel I was putting in my body. I felt like I switched to a lean, mean, green, positivity machine when I stopped drinking booze. I felt sharper, stronger. I woke up. My body felt better. This is a coach's playbook episode. I don't know what's right for you, but I can share what's worked for me. Take a page from this playbook, use it as is, change it up, play it your own way. That's something we say here in Practice Your Positive. Play it your own way. It's your positivity, not mine. It's yours. So play it your way. And listen, I get it. The I choose no booze is not for everyone at every time. I totally get that. 10 years ago, this talk would have been like, skip the next episode, or I would have listened to it and been like, oh, that's a great idea. Not done it. So I'm going to break down my playbook for less booze, what I gained by going just about alcohol free, and how it put me back in charge of my overall positivity plan. And so let's start in our sports analogy. Let's start by reviewing the tapes. Let's talk about my past performance. I would say from my teenage years through my 20s and mid 30s, I probably drank about 2 drinks a weekday and maybe 4 to 6 on the weekend days. It didn't seem like much. It felt very normal to me. And alcohol was frankly a part of my social life, right? I went out for drinks a lot. I drank when I went out to dinner. We went to brew pubs. We went to, wine tasting events. Alcohol, it was a small part, but it was a small, consistent part of my life for a good 15, 20 years. And as we review the tapes, I like to think about wins, losses, and ties. And so if I think about drinking for all those years, that's like 15,000 drinks I've had in those 15 years. That seems like a lot. It didn't seem like much one day at a time, but it seems like a lot saying it here. And so if I think about those 15,000 and encounters with alcohol in wins, losses, and ties, I would say there's probably a handful of wins, maybe, 10, 20 times where having a drink really enhanced the evening. I felt good. It was an experience. There was a lot of ties where I probably could have taken it or leave it. Maybe, it made the day a little better, but not necessarily so. And losses, let's be honest, a lot of losses. If I looked at my overall record, I would say probably more losses than wins with those 15,000 drinks that I've had in my life. I didn't necessarily choose to stop drinking. I started getting crushing migraines every time I had a drink. I cut down on my alcohol because of headaches. It wasn't some big lofty, aspiration. It physically was so unpleasant. I just stopped. And then maybe for about a year, I was like, okay, well, I won't drink as much as I used to, but I still will drink, right? So I would drink on the weekends. I would have maybe a glass of wine on a Saturday or a beer on a Sunday. And then I did that for about a year. And then I'm like, why am I even hanging on to this little bit, right? It felt more like a psychological crutch at that point than a physical one. And so then for the most part, for the past year plus now, I've been mostly no alcohol. So let's get to the before and after, going from, a moderate drinker to mostly no alcohol. Immediately in the weeks that followed, me cutting down on drinking, stopping drinking, I immediately lost like 5 pounds. Like I just immediately got leaner. My belly bloat went away. My face was less puffy. I've been doing some really heavy training and lifting for hypertrophy during that time. Alcohol disrupts that protein synthesis, right? When I stopped drinking, I got leaner than I had been before. Definitely an increase in muscle gain and overall body. I felt better. My headaches miraculously went away, right? I had headaches for like 15 years. Well, when I stopped alcohol, I got rid of like 80% of the headaches that I've had my entire life. So that alone was a huge win, a life-changing win. It's very hard to be positive when you feel like crap. Period. I felt like I was getting better sleep for it. I wasn't relying on alcohol to kind of bed me down at night. I felt like I had better mental clarity when I woke up in the morning. I just woke up and my brain was functioning right away without some of that grogginess that I'd always thought was normal, or I always thought was just, oh, me getting older, but it was the alcohol. I won't say that my reduction in stress or anxiety was directly related to alcohol, because I've been doing a lot to, regulate my nervous system and shift myself into slower gear, but I do think that it helped. And so there were a few unexpected benefits. One is I felt like I was a better role model for my kiddo. I didn't want her to think that the only way I could enjoy my time with her was to have a drink in my hand. By not having that, I felt like I could role model to her that we can have a good time, no alcohol needed, right? We can be open and with our feelings, and we can have fun without having to get boozed up to do it. And I also had a big increase in self-confidence. I felt more comfortable just being myself without leaning on the crutch of getting a buzz. I started going dancing and just being stone cold sober and dancing like a maniac, let me tell you. And that is very freeing, to just be comfortable enough with yourself to dance sober. In public, you will learn a lot about yourself, and you will grow in leaps and bounds by getting rid of that crutch. And in general, I trusted my decision making more. I probably had less Amazon returns because I wasn't tipsy shopping and buying things I didn't need and then returning them the next day. For me, right now at this point in my life, I choose no booze. So that is a page from the coach's playbook. But play it your own way. In my playbook, I choose no booze for a more positive life. I don't know what's right for you. You play it your own way, but I'm sharing what works for me. So I invite you, as the positive of the day, to get curious. Get curious about the role of alcohol in your life, maybe what you're using it for. Remember, we are slow and steady. Practice Your Positive is a marathon, not a sprint. Slow and steady. Track how you feel. Maybe do a few experiments. Write down, have a normal night and write down how you feel in the morning, and then skip alcohol for a night or two and see if you feel any different, right? Do your own experiments. Play your own way. It's your game. Bonus, on YouTube only, I'm going to make a short video about other things you can drink. I'll talk about kombucha, adaptogens, mushroom elixirs, and all sorts of other interesting, weird, fun, beneficial drinks you can have instead of alcohol. So float over YouTube to find that one. Until tomorrow, because I will see you tomorrow in the Positivity Gym. Girl, we don't skip Positivity Day.